First story of the night. Jake Tappa faces backlash over new book on Biden's cognitive decline. So CNN Jake Tappa is facing blowback after co-authoring a new book about efforts to allegedly cover up former President Joe Biden's mental decline. As soon as this thing dropped, every single person on the right, the alt-right, the adjacent right, independent media all went, really, Jake? Really? Really? You're going to write a book about his cognitive decline when you were on the record at CNN, and these people don't realize, these people in the media, Dan Crenshaw, we talked about that story the other day. We talked about, these people don't realize that the internet is forever and that we have clips and that we can do this magical thing like download the clips onto our computers, right? We have to say this in old boomer speak. We take the clip from the interwebs and we put them on our magical devices called computers, and then we upload them back so we can show you that you're full of it, like so.
Comment like that.
So this is him being mad at one of Laura Trump for even saying that Joe Biden has cognitive decline, and here's Jake Tapper waving his finger at her.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you?
That's right. Joe Biden sounded like an idiot because of his stutter that he didn't have for his entire life, except for selected clips. And then he got into office, and all of a sudden he had
a comment like that.
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline. Okay. That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have
no
That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive decline.
That Joe Biden
I have one last question for you, Laura.
Look at this fake outrage. How dare you? How dare you? These people were diagnosing Trump as having cognitive decline during the first round of his presidency. Remember the time Trump walked down a ramp and he didn't have a handrail, so he walked slowly? They had Goop Bar or whatever they're seeing it. Well, that's obviously a sign that he's not doing well mentally, and I think he's actually retarded and stupid. And they were like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And then if you said that Joe Biden, because he would literally sunset in the middle of a speech, and we'd be like, oh, I think that's cognitive decline. And they go, oh, you're not a medical professional.
Times on stage. And it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world. Okay. That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel sorry for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure.
Yep. And then he comes out with that. This is the real title of said book. Original Sin. President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again. May 20th, 2025. Really? I wish I can do GIFs and stuff on StreamYard. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'd have the kid being like, really? Really? Really, Jake? You're going to write this book. You're going to write this book after scolding members of the Trump family about, we can't say he has a cognitive decline. It's a stutter. I can't believe you people. It's a stutter. You're so mean. And then he's like, by the way, Joe Biden had cognitive decline. Psych. And it's, these people, they think they can get away with this stuff. But Penguin Press announced Wednesday that Tapper and Axios correspondent Alex Thompson, who I'm sure did his job in covering up Joe Biden's cognitive decline, were co-writing a book about what led the Democratic Party's 24 election defeat, with a focus on Biden's serious decline, quote unquote. Why does this matter? The devastating loss for the Democrats last year have largely been attributed to Joe Biden's decision to run for re-election. Despite concerns that had swirled around his age at 82, would have been the oldest president to be inaugurated again after he won the disastrous debate performance against Donald Trump that sent the Democratic Party panicking and then gave us the gift that is Kamala Harris. Over his mental acuity. Biden ultimately bowed out. No, he was forced out. That tweet saying he was leaving, that was all a coup. You actually watched a coup in real time. You watched a bloodless coup happen in the Democratic Party where they removed the sitting president and then installed his clown of a vice president with no process, no debate, nothing. That is the actual real coup. The real illegitimate candidate was Kamala Harris because she didn't have a chance. Now, of course, that was the Biden's one last middle finger to the Democratic Party because the word was they wanted to have an open convention and then they were going to select somebody at the Democratic convention. But the Bidens were like, by the way, we endorse Kamala. And that's what everybody else has said. I guess we have to get behind Kamala Harris. And that's what led to that. Despite Tapper's previous defense of Biden, he was among one of the most vocal critics of the president's decision to seek re-election. Don't do that, Newsweek. Don't do that. Don't do that. He is no way, shape, or form. You can't give him an out. The man defended Joe Biden for 4 years. He defended Joe Biden during the 2020 campaign when we all saw when he bit his wife's finger on stage, when he introduced his sister as his wife. These are just things off the top of my head that I'm thinking about. And then he was like, the thing, or to the shaman pressure, or all these other kinds of amazing sound bites that we had time after time after time after time. And they were like, nah, man, it's just a stutter. What are you talking about? Because they had to get rid of the orange man. That was the only goal. Once they put Joe Biden in, this is the way I've looked at it. They put Joe Biden in, and that was his just reward, to use the dog-faced pony soldier. That's another one. When he said that, and when he made fun of the troops at a stop, time and time again. So Biden was installed, according to me. Doesn't mean you don't have to agree with it. There were some shenanigans, I'll say that, in 2020. I'll just leave it at that. Biden is in. And that was his reward for his years of public service and his reward for taking down the orange man. We could all tell from afar that Joe Biden was not going to win re-election and that Donald Trump was going to win unless they killed him, which they tried to do. But so they said, Joe, we don't want you to take this election loss. So we're going to drop you out and we're going to put Kamala in because she's the vice president. We don't know what to do with her. If she loses us badly, then we don't have to deal with her in 2028. All of these other kinds of things. It was a perfect setup. And it worked because Kamala Harris got the brakes beaten off of her in the election. And now she's kind of just floating around in the ether for the next 4 years. Maybe she'll go be the governor of California. Maybe she'll take a nice cushy position at an HBCU, teaching law or whatever. She'll write a couple books. She's fine. That was her payoff. You got to take this election beating, but we're going to take care of you after. You're going to be fine. You're going to write books. We'll give you a cushy job somewhere, whatever. Don't worry about it. But the fact that these people are now coming out and saying it was so disastrous that he decided to run again. I can't believe that he did that. That was terrible. And it's just one of these things that was pretty bad. And it was a coordinated attack on him to get him out. But the idea that these people are going to try and get away with, and that's the thing, they're going to try and get away with saying, well, of course we thought it was a decline. It was terrible. While at the same time, there's video evidence after video evidence after video evidence of them defending Joe Biden time after time. Jake Tapper being one of the main people on his platform of CNN, deriding and insulting people that would dare to challenge the narrative. And so, of course, you don't hate the media enough. And this is another reason why mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News, to an extent, they're all dying because there's no authenticity there. Most people realize out of that small pool of the Democratic, voting base, that the Democratic Party has an official voice outlet in these legacy media outlets. That's how they can do this. That's how they can say, well, we knew that he had a cognitive decline. It was a disastrous choice to run for re-election, even though everybody thought he could win up until the point where he went on that debate stage and he was set up for failure on that debate stage. He really was. And because they didn't do that to him in 2020, they didn't do that. They kept him very much hidden in those debates. Now, of course, he was a little bit sharper in 2020. You can take whatever definition of being sharper as sharper is, but the fact is he was more equipped in 2020 and they still hit him. And the fact that they ran him out there at the first possible chance to get the brakes beaten off of him in that debate shows that they did not want him to run. And the only reason he decided to run again for re-election, because I think the deal was made in 2020. Hey, man, you're going to be a one-term president. You're going to help we're going to write glowing histories about you in the historical, because we have all the liberal professors and they're all going to write books. You're going to be the guy that defeated fascism, all this other kind of stuff. You'll be a one-term president, and then we'll transition to somebody in 2024. Joe Biden, the Jezebel that she is, did not want to release power. That's why he stayed, because she didn't want to leave. And, Kamala and Jill hated each other, and that was pretty much a known fact. But these outlets are going to come out with these books the fall of the 2024 election. What happened in 2024? Why did Joe Biden stay in? We knew he wasn't any good. Yet people can bring up these clips, like I've said, time after time. And that's why people don't believe Jake Tapper. That's why people don't believe, Ricky Maddow. That's why people don't believe anybody on The View. That's why they don't believe these people, because they're given these platforms. They're giving ridiculous amounts of money to propagate lies. That's why shows like Timcast destroy pretty much every single one of these primetime shows. I don't like them, but a guy like Joe Rogan decimates the best. The highest rated primetime show is a bad day for somebody like Joe Rogan, because as much as I don't like the guy, everybody finds him authentic. And that's what people crave nowadays. When you have all of these outlets, people crave authenticity. And I guess that's why, 215 people are watching me right now, because you think I have some kind of authenticity when I'm just kind of a guy. Well, we're just hanging out talking, and I'm trying to give you my idea of what's going on. And I appreciate, and that's why I need you to comment while we're live, either on Rumble or on Facebook. My YouTubers are absolutely keeping it down. Let me know what you guys are thinking, but keep this conversation going. Let me know what you think as well. So this is going to be the first of many books, so the legacy media can try to change their narrative when they absolutely locked in March step behind Joe Biden for 4 years. And only because he lost, and only because Donald Trump is back in the White House, are these books. If Joe Biden or if Kamala Harris won in 2024, and then this book would have never come out. I know, it's shocking. Great. What great insight. But think about it. There's no need for this book to come out. There would have been Joe Biden, the legacy of the one man who could beat Trump, or whatever the case may be. But since they lost, now they're engaging in this rewriting of the narrative. Unfortunately, they can't control the narrative because of all these platforms that people have. But Jake Tapper, shame on you. Shame on you, Jake Tapper.